tonight. Megan, are you proud of your husband?
I'm always proud of him. Yes.
Well, and hello, everybody. I would like to welcome you to Megan, Duchess of Advocacy World Podcast. I am your host, Special K Thoughts, aka Special K, better known in the world of Twitter. During this episode, we will discuss the latest drama of the Mail on Sunday's appeals court case. Before we get into that hot mess, if you are listening or watching, I should say, on YouTube, I'm going to need you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, please. For those of you who do not know, we are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So, hello to everybody who is listening to us on those platforms. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you for listening. Now, to those of you who have been following us on YouTube, know us by Megan's World News Channel podcast or just plain and simple Megan's World. You've noticed that we have changed the name. We have switched it up. We are now known as Megan, Duchess of Advocacy World Podcast. The reason why we changed the name was because we felt that we needed to have a name that truly was a reflection of the woman, the Duchess, Megan, Duchess of Sussex. And we know that Megan is all about advocacy. She's all about advocating. She's been doing this ever since she was a little girl, advocating for women's rights, advocating for gender equality, advocating for social injustice, right? Advocating for everybody to vote, advocating for everybody to have access to health care, advocating against racism, advocating for paid leave for all. Megan, Duchess of Advocacy World Podcast. That's the new name. I hope you guys love it. Well, I am sure everybody knows in the world of Meghan Markle, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, Duchess of Advocacy, that the Mail on Sunday's appeal court case was conducted this past week. The Mail on Sunday introduced, quote unquote, new evidence, which was a witness statement by none other than Jason Knauf, the Sussex's former communications secretary, who is now, and I do mean now, as in currently, the present chief executive of the Royal Foundation of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Yes, Meghan's brother and sister in law's foundation. And please believe me when I say Knopf's witness statement was not written to assist the Duchess in any way. It was written to lynch her in court and support the Mail on Sunday's defense. Yes, William and Kate's right hand man. Mm. In his witness statement, Knopf provided texts and emails exchanges between him and the Duchess, showing that she and Harry provided him information to brief the authors of Finding Freedom. Also, Knopf is claiming that the text messages he exchanged with Meghan show that she knew the letter she wrote to her sperm donor would leak. Mm. The Duchess presented the court a 21-page response to Knopf's written statement, and she also apologized to the court, stating that she forgot about the exchanges. However, she stated her intention was never to mislead the court. However, she wished that she had remembered the text messages and emails because she felt that they only helped her case. Nowhere in the exchanges to Knopf does she mention the letter. And just because she suspected that the letter might leak, it doesn't mean that that's what she wanted. Like, duh. Now, of course, the UK media and some worldwide media outlets, to include here in the US, are only focusing on Meghan's apology to the court for forgetting about the text messages and the emails. However, they are doing it without the full content of the Duchess's 21-page response, which is utterly disappointing and reckless. Meghan's 21-page response contains very important information outlining different events, such as her distrust of the UK media, not wanting to meet with the authors of Finding Freedom, despite the fact that the monarchy wanted her to, asking Knopf not to share the letter with her own private secretary, who at that time was considered a very trusted aide. Meghan, she was worrying that the trial might cause her to miscarry again. Also, and this is important, Knopf, he didn't provide the text messages in its full content to the court. I mean, that is huge. That is huge. Also, in this 21-page written response, Knopf himself verifies that Meghan did try to contact her sperm donor numerous times after he had his fake heart attacks. However, the sperm donor stopped answering her calls once she asked him what hospital was he at. Instead, the sperm donor calls TMZ. I promise you that man will never have peace for the rest of his life. First of all, again, let's not forget that this lawsuit is strictly about whether or not the Mail on Sunday violated Meghan's privacy by publishing parts of a letter that she wrote to the sperm donor. And again, Meghan won the damn case. Furthermore, a judge decided that the case shouldn't have even gone to trial because he felt that the Mail on Sunday could not prove that Meghan intended for her private letter to be shared. All right. Now, the Mail on Sunday, of course, they are muddying the waters in this appeal. Of course they are. First of all, no new evidence should be considered in an appeals case. The appellate court's task is to determine whether or not the law was applied correctly in the previous judge's decision. Second of all, what does Meghan briefing her then communications secretary on different subject matters about her so he can relay that information to the press to set the record straight for accuracy have to do with the case? I mean, isn't that what a communications secretary, aka press secretary, aka publicist, is supposed to do? Also, Meghan had already provided information to the court stating she gave permission to a friend to speak with the authors of Finding Freedom to set the record straight about not financially supporting her father at a previous court hearing. So again, this is nothing new about Meghan admitting that she did indirectly work with the authors. I don't know and I don't understand why everybody is acting brand new. Now, the Mail on Sunday's appeals court case, I mean, it's severely flawed and it really doesn't make sense. I mean, it's like clown buffoonery court. All right. The Mail on Sunday is arguing that Harry and Meghan collaborated with the authors of Finding Freedom. Okay. Which briefly mentions the letter to the sperm donor. However, the emails and text messages that Knopf presented to the court showcase Harry and Meghan signing off on him, briefing with the authors on background and correct information to counteract the untrue stories for accuracy only. The problem, once again, is nowhere in those text messages or emails does Megan brief Knopf to meet with the authors of Finding Freedom about the letter. The other problem is Knopf, who was working as Mary, Megan, and Harry's communication secretary, it was his job to meet with the press. It was his job to meet with the British Royal reporters. It was his job to meet with any authors that were going to write books about Harry and Meghan to discuss information about the couple and to set the record straight for accuracy. Another problem that has not been reported due to media news outlets' yellow, lazy ass journalism is the fact that Megan did not previously acknowledge these emails when the lawsuit was originally filed because the Finding Freedom book hadn't been released yet. Harry and Meghan were still working as senior royals. The Mail introduced this argument after the book was released, so Meghan wasn't thinking about that information during the initial disclosure discovery phase of the case. Also, you have to remember what was going on during that time when the Mail on Sunday decided to change their defense during the trial, which was late in the third quarter of the case, when they knew that their asses was losing bad. Why did they change their defense? Because a senior royal aide met with the editor of the Mail on Sunday twice, providing information that Meghan had indirectly given information to the authors of Finding Freedom, trying to argue that the letter wasn't so private after all, because she was giving information to these authors. They were trying to argue that she invaded her own privacy and she was telling everybody about the letter. So since she was doing that, that means that the letter wasn't private. I'm like, how do you invade your own privacy? Right? To me, invading your own privacy is like if you moon somebody, right? Say like if you moon somebody in public, is that like considered invasion of your own privacy? Or like if you flash somebody your tatas, is that like invasion of your own privacy? Or like if a guy flashes you, it shows you his small penis, like is that is he invading his own privacy? All right, right now I'm just being stupid. Again, Megan had admitted that she allowed a friend to speak with the authors of Finding Freedom. So again, this information is nothing new because it was addressed in the previous court case, and the Mail on Sunday still lost their court case. They still lost. All right. Another problem is that the text messages Knopf provided to the court were not in its full content. Hmm. Let's keep in mind the Duchess of Sussex provided the court with a 21-page response to Knopf's written statement. In that 21-page response, she provided to the court more of her own texts and emails that were incomplete context between she and Knopf, which appeared to prove that she never wanted the letter to be leaked, and once again prove she never told Knopf to brief the authors of Finding Freedom about the letter. So, did Knopf present false evidence to the court? Hmm. In my opinion, he did. Okay. And in this 21-page response, Megan does address Knauf's, compromised half truths text messages that he presented to the court. All right. Megan says, and I quote, I am therefore puzzled as to why he has quoted extracts from those texts in his statement rather than exhibiting them in full in a confidential schedule to his statement and allowing them to speak for themselves, set in their full content. Whoa, I just realized that. I mean, did he really present text messages or did he just present quotes? I mean, that's basically what it sounds like that she's saying, that he presented. Let me read this again. I am therefore puzzled as to why he has quoted extracts from those texts in his statement rather than exhibiting them in full in a confidential schedule to his statement and allowing them to speak for themselves, set in their full context. So it sounds like to me he didn't present text messages to the court. He presented quoted extracts from those text messages. And the court allowed that? The court accepted that? I mean, to me, that's just wrong. But anyway, Megan goes on to say, beginning quote, be that as it may, I believe that they in fact support my pleaded case and undermine the defendant's case, end quote. I agree with her there. Now, Megan goes on to say, which is very interesting, right? This right here, like, took me out. Like, literally took me out. I mean, Megan actually says, right, in this, well, she doesn't say it, but she actually states in this 21-page response, beginning quote, I was unable to retrieve any text messages with Mr. Knauf because an automatic deletion system had been implemented on my phone by a cybersecurity specialist bought to Kingston Palace for my devices in 2016. Wow. Okay. Now, I'm going to take you back to the Oprah Winfrey interview. Remember when all the haters were saying that Megan was lying about her passport being taken away and her car keys being taken away? Okay. So, if they have a cyber security specialist deleting her text messages and deleting possibly her emails, then why would it be so hard to believe that security took her passport and her car keys? Okay? Like, why would it be so hard to believe that? If they're deleting her text messages, then of course they probably did take her passport and her car keys. All right. Anyway, when I read that just got to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that literally got to me. You have people deleting your text messages, and I understand that some people's argument is that, well, you know, many members of the royal family's phones have been hacked into, and it's they have to have tight security, which I get. But my point of view is that if you're going to have a cyber security team deleting text messages off of the royal family's, cell phones or whatever, then that same rule should apply to their staff, right? Why was it that Knopf was able to retrieve and, not just retrieve, but keep and retrieve text messages. However, Meghan wasn't. To me, that makes absolutely no sense. Not unless Kingston Palace allowed Knopf to retrieve those text messages because they were in some type of security database locked up. And Wills was like, hey, remember all those text messages that you exchanged with Meghan? Well, you can have access to them now and present them to the court. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Again, none of this information has been reported worldwide by the press because the apology, which in itself was taken out of content, is the focus of the media. At the end of the day, what is more important than anything else is that the three appellate court judges have the 21-page witness statement from the Duchess, which you best believe is very informative and directly refutes point by point by point in great details with receipts Knopf's written statement. Meghan provided text messages and emails in their full content. Meghan provided a detailed background story of the interactions that she had with Knopf, which gave you a full picture of a woman who didn't trust the UK media, who didn't want to meet with the UK media or the authors of Finding Freedom, despite the fact that the monarchy wanted her to. Meghan provides a full picture that appears to show that she felt obligated to share personal, hurtful details of a broken down relationship between her and her sperm donor with her communications secretary, who then was supposed to be a trusted confidant, to write a letter because her husband was getting berated by his daddy, who wanted her to fly to Mexico to meet with her sperm donor. One of the text messages that she sent to Knopf stated this about the whole, you know, Prince Harry getting berated by Daddy Charles and they all mad because Meghan's sperm donor is talking all this shit. Okay. So this is a text message that Meghan sent to Knopf in regards to that whole jacked up situation. Beginning quote, the catalyst for my doing this is seeing how much pain this is causing H, aka Harry. Even after a week with his dad, Prince Charles, and endlessly explaining the situation, his family seemed to forget the contents and revert to, can't she just go see him and make this stop? End quote. Meghan goes on to say, beginning quote, they fundamentally don't understand. So at least by writing H, will be able to say to his family, beginning quote, she wrote him a letter and he is still doing it, end quote. By taking this form of action, I protect my husband from this constant berating, and while unlikely, perhaps it will give my father a moment to pause, end quote. A father who claimed he had a heart attack. However, when the Duchess texted him numerous times to check on him and find out what hospital he was at, he stopped taking her calls and called TMZ instead. Shit, this man, he will never know peace. I promise you, he is not going to know peace. Anyway, after sitting back and really analyzing this whole situation, the Mail on Sunday, they could care less if they win this appeal. I'm serious. They could care less. They don't give a rat's ass. They really don't. All right. Destroying Megan means more to them than money. They can't get over the fact that she sued them and won. They just can't get over it. They were surprised that she sued. It's almost like that they had reassurances that she wasn't going to sue. But that's a whole another topic. See, to me, the Mail on Sundays, they're viewing this lawsuit from two different points of view. The longer this case goes, okay, aka they win the appeal, or even if they lose the appeal, right, and they take it to the Supreme Court, it doesn't matter. The more stories and headlines they can write to sell papers, the more money they will make. Monetizing hate in regards to Meghan Markle is very lucrative. It's a very lucrative business. Okay. The MOS figured out that if they lose and they have to pay, they will still recoup the money by continuing to write stories about the court case, along with continuing to cause great emotional pain and destroying Meghan's character. Okay. Now, let's talk about the bigger story, though. Let's focus on Knopf. I mean, we've been talking about him the whole damn time, but let's focus on him and how he appears to be helping the Mail on Sunday. Remember, once again, this case is about whether or not the Mail on Sunday was wrong or right to publish a private letter by a member of the royal family. That's what this whole case is about, right? And the Mail, well, let me run it back. That's what the case was about. And Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, won her case. That judge said that the Mail on Sunday was legally wrong for publishing her letter. They said that the judge said that the Mail on Sunday invaded Meghan's privacy. So she won that case. So this case, the appeals case, is in regards to whether if the judge applied the law correctly in making his judgment. All right. So, doesn't it appear shady as hell for an ex-royal aide who is currently working for William and Kate, assisting a trash ash tabloid to lynch his brother's wife in court? All right. Why is Knopf so invested to help the Mail on Sunday? Like, why? Meghan isn't suing him. She hasn't committed a crime. She hasn't been accused of embezzling money from any royal foundation. She hasn't been accused of participating in sex trafficking. I mean, like, why is Knopf, an ex-royal aide who worked with Harry and Meghan, who is now chief executive of the Royal Foundation of William and Kate's, willingly, purposefully, dutifully assisting a trash bag tabloid in taking down his boss's sister-in-law over a court case that has absolutely nothing to do with the royals? What is the cause for the upheaval? What is the motivation factor? Knopf was Harry and Meghan's communication secretary. All Harry and Meghan did was to have him do his job, which was to work with the media to confirm or deny information about them. He was a publicist, point blank, period. My God, is there something wrong with Harry and Meghan using their communications secretary to make sure that the authors of Finding Freedom were getting shit right in the book? I mean, that doesn't mean that they gave up their right to privacy. Back to Knopf. What hill is he trying to die on? Now, we all know he was the one that sent out an email accusing Meghan of bullying staff. But I mean, that's out of his hands now because number one, he no longer works for Harry and Meghan, right? He works for William and Kate. And number two, there's supposed to be some type of inquiry going on about the bullying allegations that's being conducted by some outside legal agency, which we all know that's bullshit because because they're not even going to interview the accused, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. So I don't see how you're going to have an inquiry or an investigation when you don't even interview the accused and then talk about you're going to release the findings in 2022. Man, the royal family, they be on some bullshit, man. But anyway, oh, and I also wanted to mention that throughout those text messages and emails, Knopf never says anything to Meghan about how she's treating the staff. He never mentions it, right? And the text messages and emails that were exchanged between those two, Meghan was very professional and she was very cordial, right? And she was friendly throughout those text messages. So that's another good point to bring out. So again, I asked the question, why is Knopf so invested in taking down his current boss's wife? Will's and Kate's sister-in-law, William's brother's wife. No matter how many headlines you read about Meghan apologizing to the court, no matter how many British talk shows have five-panel discussions on how Meghan's credibility with the court was compromised, people who are objective with working brains are thinking what you and I are thinking. This is not a good look for the royal family. What Knopf did was open a whole can of worms, compromising the reputation of the royal family. I mean, think about it. There is a former royal aide and a current close associate employee of William and Kate cooperating with a tabloid, and it appears that the royal family has no problems with that, and they may have sanctioned it. The question is why? Why would the royal family, specifically William, appear to have no issues with one of their employees working with a tabloid to take down the Duchess, who is his brother's wife? Is his disdain for Meghan that deep? Is she really that much of a threat? There is nothing that Meghan has done to William or Knopf that would cause them to want her to suffer this much emotional pain. The letter has nothing to do with them or the crown. Are they still mad about the Oprah Winfrey interview? Well, I mean, at least Meghan didn't tell us it was William who was concerned about how dark Archie's skin would be. I mean, she didn't tell us that. So, Wills, why are you this mad? So, is it the hate and disdain for Meghan Really that deep, or does William and Charles owe the MOS? Does the MOS have something on them? Are Wills and Charles compromised? Hmm. Does the silent contract with the tabloids have so much power over the royal family that they are willing to lynch or sacrifice one of their own family members to save potential information about their shortcomings or improprieties getting reported? Or perhaps they just honestly don't give a shit about Meghan. I believe that it is all of the above. Everything that we said. I believe that it is all of that and then some. Going back to the Oprah interview again, remember what Megan said. Beginning quote: they were willing to lie to protect other members of the family, but they weren't willing to tell the truth to protect me and my husband. Regarding Knopf, when you look at him, he looks like a hating little weasel. But for him to want to take it this far, uh, it's a little extra to me. That's why I feel like he is being sanctioned to do it with benefits offered. Okay. And I also believe that Knopf is the person that has been leaking all of the stories about Harry and Meghan. Remember, his best friend is Dan Wooten. Okay, that's his best friend. They went to college together. And we all know Danny Boy literally hates Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. But you know what? I mean, that's okay though. Because at the end of the day, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, appears not to be bothered. She is continuing to do her and be about service. She showcased that strong inner strength when she and Prince Harry attended their first black tie event at the 2021 Salute to Freedom Gala. This event was held at the Intrepid Sea Air Space Museum in New York to celebrate service members. Prince Harry handed out awards to celebrated honorees, looking mighty dapper in his Armani suit. Now, come on. Didn't Prince Harry look good? I mean, he was really fitting that suit. And when I saw him, honestly, and I'm not just saying this, but I honestly thought, you know what? That's either a Tom Ford tux or an Armani tux. I really felt that in my heart because I was like, he's just looking too good. That suit is just too fitted. You you know what I'm saying? I mean, it had style, it had pizzazz, it looked classy, you know. And did you notice Prince Harry's hair? His hair was actually combed. You know what I'm saying? Like he really cleaned up for this black tie affair. What is it with women like Meghan Markle and J Lo? I mean, they know how to clean a man up. All right. The Duchess, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, wore a red jaw dropping, stunning Carolina Herrera gown. The dress featured a double layered skirt and simple straps, all in bold red, matching her and Harry's Remembrance Day poppies. Now, when Harry and Meghan hit the red carpet together, it was like the whole world shook. Okay? I mean, the whole world shook. It shook everybody. When they hit that red carpet, everybody's mouths dropped. I mean, those two, they just got it. There are couples in this world that just have it. And those two have it. They are a show stopping, jaw dropping couple. I mean, they just look so elegant and they were just stunning. And some of the pictures that they took just reminded you of just pure stylistic class. Okay? I mean, it it was just awesome to see those two at the black tie event. Now, Megan definitely knew that the news was coming out about Knopf's written statement. The Duchess knew that. Attending the black tie affair, wearing that show stopping, jaw dropping, elegant, classic red dress, screamed a symbolic statement to the Mail on Sunday, Knopf, and all of the haters. And that statement was, I am Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and I am still standing.